Hi, my friends and the amazing souls. Hey, what I need to tell you is something really important that we finally have pieced together the time frame we believe for the Mandela Effect when it started. And, there was a brother named Rolly. He lives in Boise, Idaho. And we think we've actually finally peeled the exact date. Some people claim it was before this date, and that's okay because maybe their time rippled. But for us, that we have it nailed. We're pretty darn sure on this one. Okay, so when the Mandela Effect, I was one of the first ones that, in my reality or timeline, discovered it. I think and Rolly said it was the same for him. He was like only two or four of us floating around. I didn't know he was floating around at that time because I didn't meet up with him until about this last year, right? Anyway, so back in about 2015, the fall of 2015, I noticed that the place I was at was not my original Earth. I noticed even before I noticed the music changes, the Berenstein Bears, the John F. Kennedy 4 versus 6 in the vehicle, all these other things, okay? I'm sorry it's just dark out here, but you're going to have to deal with it. There's not much light. There's a little blinking light. You can look at that blinking light. So anyway, so back in 2015, I noticed that the sun was white versus yellow. I noticed that the sky was very filthy and polluted, grayish. It's probably from the chemtrails that was on this Earth, this Earth that it had moved to. And I noticed that everything just seemed artificial. I mean, and so I was looking for an exit. Then I didn't become that spiritual. I said, my gosh, where am I? I said, my gosh, my house is the same. The neighbors appear to be the same, but I said something's wrong here. When I was walking outside, I was a software engineer, so I didn't get to look at the outside a lot, but I just noticed everything was off. I mean, the angle of the sun, the way it looked, and also the sky was just filthy. And I said, my gosh, where am I? I almost lost my mind because I was like, I felt, and I also felt my heart, my soul, that this wasn't where my original living place was or home at that time. I said, there's something different. Then I noticed my colleagues at work were behaving different. They was slightly different at Kaiser Permanente. I noticed that they were just a little bit rough around the edges and uh, not very heart giving and stuff like that. I mean, they never were the best guys. I had a lot of people, no offense, they were from India, so it was hard to communicate with them half the time into their culture and stuff like that, because I thought maybe they had some animosity against me being I was the only white Caucasian guy on the team. I was working with these guys. So it was always kind of rough anyway. And it wasn't because of me, there's just all this tension, right? So anyway, so I noticed, I felt something was off. I was like, God. And my family, my immediate, the former wife and stuff, the kids, their behavior was still somewhat the same, but something was kind of changing. And I was going through a lot of troubled times at this time as well. So you understand, I was working with Kaiser. I was getting a lot of pressure. I was leading like three deployment teams. Had hundreds of employees that were responsible for me and stuff like that. So I was under a lot of pressure and getting pressure from the work, and I was taking on a lot of projects that was needed for the company, a lot of tech products. The reason I brought that up is because at first I couldn't, all these pressures was happening, at the same time. And then I noticed that my managers were a little bit different behavior at Kaiser, just slightly different than the ones I had before this date. Okay. So anyway, I was getting signs all around me, right? And one day I was driving down the road and noticed that the green light was on top versus the bottom. I said, "What? Am I something wrong? I always remember like a green light on top, not the bottom." I said, "Something's not right here." I said, "What?" I said, "Geez, something." So then one day, for some reason, I was doing a search, and I found out that John F. Kennedy is saying six people in the car versus four. And I wasn't a big history buff, but I studied the history of John F. Kennedy and knew, seen the film like many times that there was always four people in the vehicle. When they said six, I about lost my mind. I said, wait a minute. I said, where am I? Have I lost my mind? I mean, I said, what is going on here? And so that was the first thing. So I started searching the internet immediately. I was looking through Internet Explorer. I mean, sorry, not Google. I was Googling. I was Yahooing. I was YouTubing. Everything. I could not find anything out there. I was like searching, and I said, God, something. So I finally came across somebody had a YouTube. I don't know who it was. They said, and they were kind of rough around the edges, and I can't even remember who it was. They said, "Hey, there's this thing called Mandela Effect or something, or quantum effect that they're claiming that John F. Kennedy." They said, and they said my reality, that there was four people and there wasn't six, and they had a really brief, short 30-second thing. And I searched everything for other things for Mandela Effect. I mean, I searched up and down. There was no term for it. I mean, they had Mandela Effect. This individual did. I could not find anything. I said, "What's this Mandela Effect?" And talking about Nelson Mandela, so I was searching Nelson Mandela, and I remember him dying in prison too. And I didn't really pay attention when that happened, but I was like, "Yeah, he died in prison." I said, "Well, they said he lived on further. What's going on here?" So I searched everything, and then a couple weeks later, the Berenstein versus Berenstein Bears came along. So there's like two. I'm not kidding. There's like two videos that you could find at that time in 2015. Just two. I mean, there was nothing out there. And you know how lonely I felt. I was like, oh my God, I'm the only person in the field there's out there. I don't know how to reach these people to ask them what happened. I mean, did we die? So what is going on here? And then I gone and there's a bunch of other stuff about the Mayan calendar, the world ending, and this and that. And I thought, well, geez, did I die in the purgatory? What did I do? What did I do to earn this? The guy was never that bad of a guy. I said, my goodness. And then I said, oh man, the Mayan calendar, did the Earth actually end back in 2012 and I wasn't aware of this? I said, I always never really paid attention to that calendar, but my God. So I've been floating around here for, 3 years after 2012 and just realized that the Earth had already ended. I said, who are all these people that if they ended, where are we at? So it always quit. And it really made me buy. So I didn't want to mention anything to my family much. I did, to my mother and my brothers. I was just like, because I didn't know. So they're going to think I'm insane. And I said, what is going on here? So then my former wife, I finally started opening up to her. I said, and she would respond immediately. Like, she took it down immediately because I said, my God, do you know this? I said, there's six people in the car. And John Phoenix used to be four. I said, what's happening? And she was just like, oh, you and the conspiracy right away. And she was not a history buff, so she did not know history well at all anyway. I mean, she wouldn't know this. I mean, jeez, are you kidding me? I mean, so she never paid attention to history. It's just who she was. So she kept running around and conspiracy theorists, and then she could get violent about, like I said, they take a download, really just defensive about everything. They said, well, you're just watching. And then I finally got her to loosen up a little bit for a while, like some of them will. And I said, man, there's churches everywhere in this place. See, there was not a lot of churches in my old earth. And now there was a ton, like every corner. I said, my God, these people are spiritual. I said, what is going on? So I'm heading somewhere with us. Okay. So sorry it's so long, but I'm trying to give you the background. So I was talking to Rolly, Raleigh. He said that when he found out in 2015, he had to take a month to drive across the nation because he about lost his mind. He said, man, no, he couldn't talk to me like me, and he was like scared at first. He said, man, I don't know what's going on here. He said, I got to check out the rest of the United States. So he packs up and takes a month to drive across the United States. He said he had insanity because he's trying to figure out what's going on, right? Because he said the same thing. He could not find very much information on it. He was actually one of the first ones that started doing some videos. I think there was Bluebeard or a few others that were coming along, but I can't remember the names. It's so far back. And at the time, I was, like I said, I was trying to focus on work, and I'm like, God, well, I'm gonna have to make the best of this place where I'm at. And I'm not kidding you. I was looking through trees, like rabbit holes. I'm trying to find the exit out of here already because, like, man, this place is not my home. I'd be looking at branches. I was scouring the lands at night. I mean, I was looking everywhere. I said, how did I end up here? I got to get out of this place. So anyway, so then things just got darker. This place was really dark, just rough. Okay. I noticed that, I mean, just people's behaviors were different. And oh my gosh, I was like, man, what is happening here? People were nasty to me at work and colleagues, and just neighbors across the street behaved different. And I noticed these people different. And I was like, man, these people, and no offense, you have tattoos. I was like, God, everybody's got a tattoo and beards. And I said, I don't remember that much being there in my old life. I said, man, I must have died, or something's weird. I said, something is not right here. So then I thought, I said, my goodness. I didn't even my mother, I thought, my goodness, I didn't know on the other side when you die that, this is my final test, and maybe everybody's trying to help me get to be a better man so I can make it to the side. Maybe this is purgatory. I got to do the best I can, be a nicer guy. I was always a good guy. So I got to really start. So I started going to church and everything. I'm seriously, That's what Mandela. I mean, I immediately was taking the family to church and found a church in Colorado, one of the largest churches. I mean, I was just out of my mind trying to find, I was looking for all these things, spiritual material. I mean, I'm looking in the mountains in Colorado. I'm digging in the parks, trying to find how to dig myself out of this situation, this place. Well, anyway, luckily I found out. I woke up, to this whole thing, and things really changed when I said, "Oh my gosh!" I remember standing in the kitchen. I said, "Man, I'd die for that Lord Jesus Christ, because that guy paid a price for all of us, right?" Oh my goodness, things really changed then. They got kind of rougher for me. That's okay. My former wife, even at that moment, she goes, "You would die for him?" I said, "Oh yeah." She goes, "Yeah, but you leave your family, your kids?" I said, "Well, that'd be a price you have to pay, but honey, you got to realize they don't have a future here if he didn't, if he doesn't, if he doesn't real and the God ain't real and the creators and the angels." I said, "My goodness." I said, I'd have to figure out later. I said, "I'm just telling you, I would." But, and I wasn't very religious at that time. I wasn't into the Christianity thing like this and stuff like that. Well, anyway. So, and I started seeing really weird miracles. I mean, you wouldn't believe the stories I saw. And I had a shooting involved in Boulder. I had a video on that one that kind of changed my reality right in front of my eyes. And things started just changing. The spiritual stuff was floating around me everywhere. Orbs came along too. There was no such thing as orbs. I saw orbs in my camera, also vision in my eye. And in my old reality, there was no such thing as orbs. And you could only find, even on YouTube, I found one video of an orb, and it was a lady had filmed it in a hospital when her mother's passing away. Orbs are flying all around her, and I said, "My goodness, I know these orbs." But you could not find any searches on orbs, and now you all day long. It's like the Mandela Effect. All these things is boom, the spiritual stuff just starts exploding. Pyramids. I found the first pyramid on Antarctica. Right, it was announced a month after I was looking at Google Maps. I said, "My gosh, there's a pyramid in Antarctica." I even was going around in the forum. I said, "Can you believe that looks like a pyramid on Antarctica?" I said, "My God, there's a pyramid on that place." I said, "Did they even realize this?" I said, "I should call somebody and tell them there's a pyramid sitting there." So anyway, now there's pyramids everywhere. I mean, there's reports of them I saw one in New Mexico, and also there's ones I think in Colorado. They're all over the place, pyramids, right? So the whole world of geography, my God, is just an explosion of all this stuff. Boy, so then sorry. So so here's the date. It was September 23rd, 2015, that we're pretty sure that was the exact date that us from the Sagittarius belt or Sagittarius arm, that you can actually, Carl Sagan, he talks it, and he can validate this is residue, that we were on the Sagittarius. We got moved all the way to Orion. There was even the wow signal. I don't know if you guys remember the wow signal that this signal came out of nowhere. They said that it was really loud, and that came, guess where from? The Sagittarius arm to Orion. It was like a message that we were sending to ourselves, they thought, or something like this, right? But it gets very spiritual in this stuff as well. But anyway, so we are on the Sagittarius arm. Now, here's where it gets kind of freaky. Okay, what we found out was that it's the same distance between Sagittarius and Orion as Star Trek actually talks about. I think when they get bumped on Star Trek Voyager, they get flipped. Is it Voyager? Yeah, they get flipped into this thing, but also the same distance. But also, what's really weird about that is that we have the wow signal, and also here's where it gets to be kind of unusual. I should have done something. I don't think you can minimize it without stopping the video. Darn it, I think it'll run it. But what it is, there's many key things they talk about. That predicts this. It said that there's conspiracy theorists that a meteor is going to hit the Earth on September 23rd, 2015. And then there's other things too, that to the end of the world, there was even a movie and several things. I'll have to put it in the description because I should have pulled that up before I did this video. There's like 5 things that talk about the end of the Sagittarius Earth. Now, so that was September 23rd, 2015, okay? Which is kind of interesting because now I'm thinking about it. Psalm 23, is it 23? Well, anyway, that's what's freaky about it. I just said, right? Psalm 23. I think it's even the iPad Go 2 video. Oh my goodness. There's probably a correlation to that number. But anyway, so now the brother Raleigh in Boise, Idaho, he's very close to NASA stuff, and his former parents were in NASA, helped John F. Kennedy Center, so he had a lot of things. And he said that right before September 23rd, I can't remember, he said like a day or so before, or maybe a couple days before, that there was a report on the Sagittarius Earth that was coming out of NASA that they actually said it's not if the Earth was going to get hit by a meteor, that it was going to get hit, and they just weren't sure how bad it was. And he said he worried about it first, but then he realized there's nothing he could do about it. He said that he was really sweating bullets about it. I guess there's even oh, he told me yeah, he said it was actually well known that it actually leaked out, and it had gotten leaked out that the Earth was going to get hit by a meteor. And also, they said the meteor was going to hit the Atlantic Ocean and cause tsunamis and the stuff in that. There's actually other reports about, they said conspiracy theorists said that there was going to be a hit as well to the Atlantic Ocean, right, of that Earth. So my point is this, is that it is probably possible that God moved many of us from the Sagittarius, our creator, and it did implode. I hate to say this, folks. It probably did explode, and we probably weren't aware of it. It probably happened so fast if it did, or it could. We may. I don't know when I was moved. It could have been moved before that it happened. It occurred. I don't know. I just don't know the details of that. Okay, and that's okay because I'm alive here and I'm on a mission. And thank you, your Creator, and thank you, Lord, and thank you, angels, for moving me out of that timeline reality where that Earth may have just boom, because it may be gone. Now, see, that's what Brother Raleigh said. He goes, I'm pretty sure, Kirk, it was destroyed. There's no going back. See, some have had a theory that we would be going back to that Earth to, like this was a training on this new Earth, but I don't see that happening. They said there was some scripture that supports that, but and also, but it just okay. So I just want you to understand that it's possible that that whole Earth is gone. We'll never go back to that one. Okay. And I know it sounds crazy, but so we've narrowed it down. There's probably like possibly two major Earths. That there was a Sagittarius and Orion, and now we're sitting on the Orion type Earth, I guess. The Orion, but anyway. So we're on the Orion Earth, and this one's just a really darker. I told him, I said, man, we must be at the worst one of these Earth things. So here's what you got to realize. It's kind of in Fibonacci, because I've been studying. I just had a theory that you start in a Fibonacci that you actually have starts out as 0, but then starts out with just 2, like a yin and yang. And so it's probably like where we're getting the parallel universe or parallel Earths and stuff like this, is that there was 2. One actually called Freedom Earth and called Control Earth. They're calling it back then originally, before the Mandela Effect, when to take full swing, that our Earth had a little bit more freedom, less police control. There's less security guards. This place is loaded with security and control. You can't speak or talk, freedom of speech. I mean, and this is just more than just a Mandela Effect. This place, I mean, from day one, I was like, man, something is not, these people don't think, they act the same, they're more in control. Very, just a different whole world, Earth, okay? So you have these like carbon copies of different type of Earths, right? And this one is just, ours was a freedom, and this one's control. You can see the control right with the mass and this stuff. It got worse, the control of these people and these souls, okay? So, now, so I did a Google trend search as well to validate this. And you can do it yourself. You look up, and you can look up Mandela Effect, and it says the first reports of that term come along. I think it said there's about eight on the scale back in January 1st, 2015. Now, it's possible January 1st, 2015 was that search was coming along, because that could happen before the maybe the Earth exploded, but before it moved. But see, those two kind of go in parallel for some reason. So I'm going to stick with September 23rd, 2015, because before January 1st of 2015, there are 0 searches for the Mandela Effect. 0. I even did the Berenstein, not the Berenstein search, same results. January 1st, 2015, a few searches, and then it explodes around later on in 2015, 2016. And then we have like Fiona Broom, who claims she's the one that coined it, and she started. She said she'd been seeing it since 2010, but I've talked to her. She never would admit it. She loves God. So no offense, Fiona Broom. I think you're an agent and a liar. Yeah, and she's making a ton of money off of it. We've had a conversation with each other. And remember, at these end of times, there's going to be a ton of false prophets, false false ones out there. I mean, I heard every story and every bull crap you've ever seen, right? From many of them. So I'm going to put in the text about that. It's not a big deal because we don't really care about the date, but sometimes it's good to know where we came from, so where we're going, and it kind of makes us feel a bit more secure what happened, and what is this reality about things like this. So that's why I wanted to put this out there. But yeah, it's a totally different Earth. Some say it's smaller. I don't. Yeah, I saw some travel time differences, and just everything just so more artificial, more because it's everything. This. It's just a holy, like the Milky Way. Old Earth. I used to look off, and it'd be off to because we're at the edge of it. It'd be I used to do it with my dad with a telescope. It'd be off to the edge, like it was actually kind of to the west of. You had to point visually west into the sky at night, and this one you can look right above you. The Milky Way's floating right above you. I mean, that's shocking stuff like that. So there's so many signs that we're in this. But anyway, so I'm gonna wrap you up, and so thank you, our Creator, our God, and thank the other ones too that are involved in awakening us, because this was the great deception, the Mandela Effect, that God would allow to for the evil forces to awaken us. So thank you so much, and I appreciate that I became aware. I woke up to the Mandela Effect. I mean, I was just floating around and not really paying to my spiritual reality and just kind of living the thing. So that was a benefit. I mean, it scares the crud out of you, and it keeps changing and scaring you. And you think it's evil and stuff like that. You just got to realize that so many people were awakened by it. So even myself is one of my saving graces. That and many other things that the other side try to slowly wake me. Because if you wake somebody up all of a sudden, that might be kind of shocking. And Mandela Effect, show out. You gotta be kidding me. So I'm still learning a lot and things like this. There's so much more to that rabbit hole, and I don't want to worry about that because I want to study the mission. Because you would not believe how far I went into this rabbit hole. Oh my goodness. I mean, I even went down to pi to study pi to try to convert it to some kind of message. And there is a message in pi, by the way. There it is. Something man and ladies cannot change is pi. Yeah, pi to is a cauldron code to elementary chart. The elementary chart, man cannot change either. But in this reality, we even have kryptonite, which never existed. And Krypton from Superman, we had no Krypton. It was just a made-up element. Now there's an element called Krypton or something. Are you kidding me? And and the laws of physics are different on this planet. There's laws of physics that are broken. Even the universe, now they're saying that light can escape a black hole in our reality. That was never, ever even, they said it was impossible. So we have all these things going on, right? The geography, the physics, the everything in this world is completely different, but it's okay, right? Okay, so I'm gonna wrap that up. I love you all. It's 23 minutes. I cannot believe it's that long. All right, God bless.